Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at the St. Louis Blues as we continue our season preview series. So let's get right into it. So the St. Louis Blues actually didn't have a ton of guys that left this year, which I guess is a good thing. I guess it could be seen as a bad thing too. So we're going to go over that. So look at some of the guys they lost. Sammy Blais, he left the team. He is now a part of the New York Rangers, but he was also a bigger part where they picked up another scoring forward, a top six scoring forward to replace guys like Mike Hoffman, Jaden Schwartz, and potentially a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko, who to this point hasn't been traded, but we'll see how that thing goes into training camp. If he attends, we'll see what happens there. Jaden Schwartz left via free agency to the Seattle Kraken. We know the story there. He was going to leave anyway. And then Vince Dunn also left in the expansion draft. That was the guy that they lost. So kind of a bigger loss there on the blue line. Look at some of the guys they added. They add Pavel Buchnevich via a trade. I think that was a nice pickup from the Rangers. Didn't have enough cap space, so send him to St. Louis. And the Blues still see themselves as a team that can win a Stanley Cup. And I think they made it clear when they brought in Buchnevich, we still want to win. And it may have helped them win over Brandon Saad, who came over. So Brandon Saad comes over in free agency. Again, one of those maybe lesser depth signing guys that came in, but a guy that's definitely going to add an impact to their group in the middle six, potentially on the top line if they need be. But Brandon Saad, a nice touch there. But again, he's been one of those guys that's been criticized since his time in Chicago. He hasn't had the success or that touch that he had in the Windy City with that dynasty team in Chicago. So we'll see if he can prove those people wrong. Kyle Clifford comes in, another nice addition. Nothing too crazy, but he's going to add some grit and depth to the bottom of Craig Berube's bottom six forward group. So a nice touch there, and a little bit of that veteran swagger and poise. You can't ignore that in the locker room, and that's a good add there. Looking at their group, you got David Perron, Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen. Those are your top point producers, but let's not forget Mike Hoffman, who had 36 points last year. They just nicked that right out of the lineup. So hopefully Pavel Buchnevich adds that touch in. Jaden Schwartz, another key guy that they lost, but we're going to see the emergence of some of the young guys of this group and the continued group of guys like Robert Thomas, Zach Sanford, Jordan Kyrou. As those guys continue to grow and develop, they're going to be relying on those guys a lot more. And that's why when we look at their forward lines, that definitely is prevalent. You got Zach Sanford, Ryan O'Reilly, and David Perron as your top line. Brandon Saad, Braden Shen, and Pavel Buchnevich is your second line. So definitely some big changes to that second line. Klim Kostin, Robert Thomas, and Jordan Kyrou round out your third line. And then you've got Ivan Barbashev, Oscar Sundqvist, and Mackenzie McEachran rounding out your bottom six. So nothing really crazy there, nothing eye-popping, but like I said, you got the kids line, you got Kostin, Thomas, and Kyrou. Hopefully those guys continue to develop, and like I said, add that little bit of swagger as they get a little bit older and build up a little bit more confidence. And I think we're going to see them potentially replace some of these guys in the top six, hopefully by the end of the year, right? And then you look at their defense. Their defense is pretty good too. It definitely hurts losing Vince Dunn, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and grabbed another left shot defenseman, as we'll get to that. Torrey Krug and Justin Falk, no problem there. Pretty good. Marco Scandella and Colton Parayko. I like Parayko. Scandella as a top four defenseman, I can see why there's some concern there. Nico Mikola and Robert Bortuzzo. So that's your defense. Definitely a little bit of an alarm bell going off because they're lacking the depth there on the blue line. And the goaltending stays the same. Jordan Binnington and Ville Husso, who we know that didn't work so well, especially with Ville Husso. He really struggled last year, but I guess Armstrong is doubling down on Ville Husso as a NHL goaltender. Now, looking at some of the depth guys, this is a little bit interesting. You look at some of the guys that could jump into the lineup. You have Nikita Alexandrov, Klim Kostin, we mentioned him. Jake Neighbors, I know he was a pretty high draft pick. Dakota Joshua. Some of these guys are going to give themselves an opportunity to make the lineup. And then on the blue line, it's pretty thin. You got Scott Perunovich, who I really think is the only guy of any significance that could jump in there. I don't see Tommy Cross, Kale Rosen, or Tyler Tucker, maybe. He's still on his ELC, so we'll see what happens there. So definitely interesting. A little bit of a depletion of depth in St. Louis. You look at their cap space, $1.5 million in cap space. So they got pretty much the team that they got, and that's it. And I'm not confident in St. Louis going into this year. I think the management still thinks that they're that 2019 team that won the Stanley Cup, and you look at the core, it's fairly the same. You've got Ryan O'Reilly, right? You got David Perron. You've got guys like Tarasenko at the moment, Colton Parayko, Robert Bortuzzo, but there's just a lot of change that is there, and I just don't know if they have that magic anymore. I mean, play Gloria all you want, that song, but I just think they've lost a step, and I think some guys have gotten older, some guys have left, some key departures, and I just don't think they make the playoffs in 2022, especially with teams like Chicago and Dallas, I think, going to have a rebound season. I just don't see the St. Louis Blues in that mix. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Either way, you are free to mention that down below. Guys, thank you as always for watching, and I will see you guys again later.